परमे सत्यमयि परमे सत्यं ज्ञानं सत्यं ज्ञानं ज्योतिररविन्द सत्यं ज्ञानं सत्यं ज्ञानं ज्योतिररविन्द सत्यं ज्ञानं सत्यं ज्ञानं ज्योतिररविन्द ज्योतिररविन्द. Okay, so you've all brought your Savitri lines, I hope. How many of you have? Can I have a show of hands? Excellent. Okay, okay. Ah, okay. Hi. Okay, so I have a short talk today. We'll finish that and then we'll keep the rest of the session for all your lines. Okay? So, last class, or was it 2 classes back, we did a session called Transcending the Need to Forgive. I'll just recap it a little bit so that this is the part 2 of that. So that session we started with a story on the mother that once there was an ashramite who was disgruntled and he paid a boy to shout Nakli Maa Ki Jai, that means victory to the false mother. And all the ashramites were like, we should throw this boy out, etc. And the mother said, why should I throw him out? So they said, because he can't do these kind of things against you. So mother said, those who want to throw him out are worse than him. And she didn't hear anything more about it. And in fact, when this boy was ill with TB and all that, mother made very special arrangements for him and looked after him to the end. So we kind of see in mother a nature which is not forgiving, because in order to forgive, you have to be hurt first. But we saw that she was just not hurt. So she didn't need to forgive, because you have to be hurt first in order to forgive. So we were exploring what is it that gives us the ability to transcend the need to forgive. In other words, not be in a space where we are wounded by what happens in the first place. So in that particular talk, in the part 1, we did the concept of Sarvanubhu from the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, which says, I am Atma Brahma. This Atma, this soul, is Brahma, the God essence, and it is Sarvanubhu. It's the real experiencer of every experience. So to understand it a little more, what it's saying is that I think I am experiencing, if A speaks badly to me, I feel I am being hurt. But this I that is hurting, it's just a mental construct, right? It's something made up by your mind. Like a snake superimposed on the rope. You're seeing the snake, but actually there's no snake, there's only a rope. You think you exist as an individual, as an ahankar, and that superimposed snake, in Vedanta it's called adhyaropa, superimposition, what you project onto reality. So that can hurt. But the real you, which is the Atma, which is the rope substrate, cannot be hurt. Because it's like if you throw color into the sky will never be stained by the color, right? Because the sky doesn't have a surface to catch color. The surface that catches color is your sense of I, which is a phantom. It doesn't exist. That has a surface that can catch the colors of hurt or whatever else. But the real you, which is the Atma, which is the observing field behind thought, that can never be hurt because it has no surface to catch colors that are thrown on you. So this beautiful mantra, Ayam Atma Brahma, is reminding you that in you which really experiences various experiences of life is never touched by it. It appears to be touched by it, but the real you is never ever touched by any experience. So the point is, this knowledge is not very useful to me unless I have some glimpse of it, right? I'm telling you, you're a soul which is never wounded. But you will tell me, yeah, but that's not my experience. Which is where reading Sri Aurobindo and the Mother is a big help because, Sri Aurobindo is that brilliant spiritual scientist who has tasted the most delicious spiritual ice cream, and to a person who's not tasted it, if you describe it, he won't get the taste. But Sri Aurobindo has the brilliance to taste the ice cream and write in such a way that just reading him gives us some taste of the, which is why I urge y'all, do read something of his every day. I promise you, you can't not change if you're reading him on a daily basis. His writings have a power that is not just intellectual, it transforms something in you when you read him. So, this small passage from Essays on the Gita, we must attain that absolute peace and stillness from which we become aware of the calm, motionless, blissful self within us. I'm repeating, and here with all your attention, as if you want to absorb his words into you. We must attain that absolute peace and stillness from which we become aware of the calm, motionless, blissful self within us, which is eternally untroubled and unaffected by the touches of things. It is sufficient to itself and finds there alone its eternal satisfaction. The self is our self-existent being. It is not limited by our personal existence. It is the same in all existences, passive, equal to all things, supporting the whole universe with its infinity, but unlimited by all that is finite, unmodified by the changings of nature and personality. Unmodified by the changings of nature and personality. I'm going to read it again. Just be quiet. Be attentive to catch that in you which fits this description. Something that just watches all experiences of thoughts and emotions, but remains unmodified, unchanged by them. We must attain that absolute peace and stillness from which we become aware of the calm, motionless, blissful self within us, which is eternally untroubled and unaffected by the touches of things, is sufficient to itself and finds there alone its eternal satisfaction. The self is our self-existent being. It is not limited by a personal existence. It is the same in all existences, passive, equal to all things, supporting the whole universe with its infinity, but unlimited by all that is finite, unmodified by the changings of nature and personality. This was Essays on Gita, page 255. So then the question will be, if there is something in me which experiences everything but doesn't get altered by the experience, then why do I go through this rigmarole of experiences at all? What's the point? That's the natural question, right? So now let Mother answer. She tells Mona Sarkar, you know, my child, from the beginning of the world, the Supreme had only one purpose, to use all energies for one single aim, that each one may find his soul. So in Life Divine, Sri Aurobindo compares the Atma to our ocean self, and this appearance of that Atma to a river. And he says the river thinks it's the river, but actually it's the ocean waters that are flowing as the river, right? And the ocean from behind is directing every meandering of the river. So every experience I am having is determined by the larger consciousness that I am behind. And every experience, as Mother says, leads to only one purpose, that the stream may be reunited with its ocean self, that each one of us may come back to our soul state. So now these beautiful lines from Savitri. A miracle of the Absolute was born. Infinity put on a finite soul. All ocean lived within a wandering drop. A time-made body housed the illimitable. To live this mystery out, our souls came here. A miracle of the Absolute was born. Infinite put on a finite soul. The ocean became the river. All ocean lived within a wandering drop, but the whole ocean lived in every drop of the river. A time-made body housed the illimitable. To live this mysteries out, our souls came. Mother tells Mona Sarkar, since the beginning of time, the divine used all its energies for just one purpose, that each one may discover its soul. So to live this mystery out, our souls came here. Such a beautiful line. All ocean lived within a wandering drop. A drop which is just wandering. It looks so fragile, it can be crushed by anything, but the whole ocean lived in every drop. And each one of us is that drop in which the whole ocean lives. So now this is again Letters on Yoga by Sri Aurobindo. When we are in contact with the divine, so Letters on Yoga, volume 2, page 177. When we are in contact with the divine or in contact with an inner knowledge and vision, we begin to see all the circumstances of our life in a new light and can observe how they all tended without our knowing it towards the growth of our being and consciousness, towards the work we had to do, towards some development that had to be made. Not only what seemed good, fortunate, or successful, but the struggles, failures, difficulties, upheavals. But with each person, the guidance works differently according to his nature, the conditions of his life, his caste of consciousness, his stage of development, his need of further experience. So he's saying that with our inner vision, we can see how every experience is custom made for us. We are not automata, but conscious beings, and our mentality, our will and its decisions, our attitude to life and demand on it, our motives and movements help to determine our course. They may lead to much suffering and evil, but through it all, the guidance makes use of them for our growth in experience and consequently the development of our being and consciousness. All advance by however devious ways, even in spite of what seems a going backwards or going astray, gathering whatever experience is necessary for the soul's destiny. When we are in close contact with the divine, the protection can come in which helps or directly guides or moves us. It does not throw aside all difficulties, sufferings, or dangers, but it carries us through them and out of them, except where for a special purpose there's need of the offering. So Sri Aurobindo says how every experience tends without our knowing it towards the growth of our being and consciousness. That's the key to remember in this whole passage, that all our experience tends without our knowing it towards the growth of our being and unconsciousness, towards the work we had to do, towards some development that had to be made. Not only what seemed good, fortunate, or successful, but struggles, failures, difficulty, they are all part of the larger plan. Now, Life Divine, page 186. But since, as we have now found, mind is no independent and original entity, but only a final operation of truth consciousness or supermind. Supermind is the higher God consciousness. I mean, it's much more, but in very simple terms. But since we have found mind is no independent and original entity, but only a final operation of the truth consciousness or supermind, therefore wherever mind is, there supermind must be. All ocean lived in a wandering drop. Wherever the drop is, the ocean has to be. So my mind is thought, emotions, all that, right? So wherever my mind is, the higher intelligence has to be there behind it. That's what he's saying. So, supermind or truth consciousness is the real creative agency of the universal existence. This higher intelligence is what's creating everything in our life. We think we are doing, people are doing, but everyone's really a puppet in the hands of that intelligence. Even when mind is in its own darkened consciousness, separated from its source, yet is that larger movement always there in the workings of the mind. What a reassurance that even when my mind is in its lowest, darkest modes of operation, that larger movement is always there in the working of the mind. Savitri has that line, no, I quoted it last time also, even through the mists of mortal thought, infallible are thy mysterious steps. Steps of the supermind, of the higher guidance, infallible, complete and precise. Yet this larger movement always there in the workings of mind, forcing them to preserve their right relation, evolving from them the inevitable results they bear in themselves, producing the right tree from the right seed. It compels even the operations of so brute, inert, and darkened a thing as material force to result in a world of law, of order, of right relation, and not as it would otherwise be of hurtling chaos and chance. So the world appears to be chaotic, but actually it's perfectly ordered chaos. It's not chaotic. There's a meaning in every curve and line. Um, I don't know, I haven't included that passage from Life Divine. I should have. But there was a lovely passage where he writes that every soul who's in your life is in your life by the divine planning. So to wish that soul away, you can, and we do when things get difficult. But he's so, maybe next Savitri class I'll get that. Every soul in your life is custom made to be there with you for a particular purpose. And so long as that purpose is not served in you, you'll keep getting into the same repeated cycles with that soul. Because that soul is commissioned to make you grow in a particular way. Until you make that growth, that soul will keep doing what rubs you off. And when you've learned what you have to from that soul, then it's amazing how that person will be taken away from your life, or that person will change around you. Because that person isn't giving you pain because he's bad or you're bad. Both of you are part of a larger plan. And that person is just, we did that lovely story of Manthara a few classes back, right? Manthara was actually a Gandhari, and she told the Lord that even if the world hates me for the rest of my life, if it serves your purposes, I'll come down to earth and play the role of Manthara. So every difficult person in our life is just playing that role for us. And I know, difficult to fathom that at some point we can be grateful to them, but when we really see the purpose they are serving in our life, we can actually be grateful to them. So, Savitri, his death is a beginning of a greater life. That's man's death is a beginning of greater life. Death is spirit's opportunity. We think death is bad, and we think very often if somebody dies young, we think it's a very bad thing, right? We feel, oh, if the person had life, he would have done this, he would have done that. But we are only looking at this lifetime. This soul is millions of years old, and nobody dies until the soul wants to go. So like Swami Vivekananda, 35 or something, he left his body. No, in that 35 years, look at the mammoth work he did. Similarly, we have a perception of death which is only perception, but he's saying that death is the spirit's opportunity, and his death is the beginning of a greater life. Life continues forever, it doesn't end with death. A vast intention has brought, here also he's saying, so maybe it was in Savitri and not Life Divine. Yes, this was the line I was looking for. A vast intention has brought two souls close. Whichever soul has been brought into your life, a vast intention has brought two souls close. And love and death conspire towards one great end. For out of danger and pain, heaven bliss shall come. That's the plan, right? To take all of us to that eventual heaven bliss. For out of danger and pain, heaven bliss shall come. Time's unforeseen event, God's secret plan. So I don't know what's going to come, but it's all known to God. And if I just tell myself, if I don't know, it's okay. He knows. I'm fine. Time's unforeseen event, God's secret plan. This world was not built with random bricks of chance. A blind God is not destiny's architect. A conscious power has drawn the plan of life. There is a meaning in each curve and line. I'll just read this passage without explanation. Hear it. His death is a beginning of greater life. Death is the spirit's opportunity. A vast intention has brought two souls close, and love and death conspire towards one great end. For out of danger and pain, heaven bliss shall come. Time's unforeseen event, God's secret plan. This world was not built with random bricks of chance. A blind God is not destiny's architect. A conscious power has drawn the plan of life. There is a meaning in each curve and line. So this I had posted on our Savitri WhatsApp group. It kind of sums up everything we've said. They are not Sri Aurobindo's words, but they are beautiful anyway. It's by Robert Adams. I can assure you, I can swear to you that you are not the body. You are choiceless, effortless, pure awareness, Sarvanubhu. You are spirit, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. You are spirit, present everywhere, all-powerful. Omni is all, so potent is powerful. Scient is knowing, omniscient, all-knowing. Within you is the light of 1,000 suns. Within you is unimaginable beauty. I want to let you in on a little secret. There are no problems. There never were any problems. There are no problems today, and there will never be any problems. The reality in the back of the universe is pure awareness. It has no problems, and you are that. You are that self. The whole universe is yourself. Everything is the self. Nothing can ever destroy you. Water cannot drown you. Fire cannot burn you. Water can't wet awareness. Fire can't burn awareness. Whatever happens to the body in this world cannot eliminate the I am, Aham. It has nothing to do with your age or whether you're well or sick or rich or poor. It has always been and it will always be. You have lived forever and you will continue to live forever. Nobody dies. There is no death. There is only eternal life and you are that. There is only eternal life and you are that. You are the imperishable self beyond birth, beyond death, beyond experiences, beyond doubts, beyond opinions, beyond whatever it is that your body is going through. Whatever thoughts your mind thinks, you are beyond that. You are the silence of the heart. You are the self, that perfect, immutable self. Nothing else exists. Nothing else ever existed. Nothing else will ever exist. There is only one self and you are that. Rejoice. Always remember in your heart that all is well. Everything is unfolding as it should. There are no mistakes anywhere at any time. What appears to be wrong is simply your own false imagination. That's all. Always remember all is well. All is well. All is perfectly well. Never forget that. Do not think about it. Do not try to analyze it. Just accept it in your heart. All is well, period, end. So, let's just be quiet and summarize what we just explored so that we may be able to bring it into our lives. So shut your eyes, and the title that we are exploring today, Transcending the Need to Forgive. When do you need to forgive? When you're wounded. Then when that wound heals, that is called the process of forgiving. But suppose I touch a place in myself which can't be wounded, what's described in Savitri as the eternal and unwounded self. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad calls this the Sarvanubhu Atma, the self which experiences everything but remains untouched by all experiences, like throwing color into the sky, but the sky has no surface to catch color, so it is never stained by the color. What's stained or colored by experience is my sense of I, which doesn't exist, which is a phantom. The phantom gets colored, but a phantom getting colored is actually not getting colored. The real me is unaffected. So just try this experiment. Go to your back body. Step with your awareness into the back body. Those of you who've attended the yoga classes, we did several yoga classes with this. Bring back the memory of that. Go into your back body and articulate Sarvanubhu. This one behind thought is the real experiencer of all experiences, and it's never touched by them. Then why experience at all? Because every experience is designed by this Atma, your ocean self, to bring your river self back to the ocean, to bring you back to your truth. So every experience is part of the great plan. Every soul that touches your life is there by a greater design. So the word Bhadram from the Prashna Upanishad, everything is good and auspicious. So as you stay focusing in your back body, inhale with the word Sarvanubhu, feeling the back body. Exhale in the heart with Bhadram. Sarvanubhu to remind you that no experience ever really touches you. Bhadram to remind you that every experience which the ego judges as good or bad is really good. Because life is not made up of random bricks of chance. A blind god is not destiny's architect. A conscious power has drawn the plan of life. There is a meaning in every curve and line.